if you follow the advice, if you follow the guidance, both in terms of the written material, hopefully in terms of what I've said today, but also hopefully through that engagement with a tutor that's more of a specialist in the kind of area you choose, then everything goes right. Everything links together, again emphasising somewhere there hopefully, the literature, builds on the literature, okay? Where things can go wrong, and this sounds a bit negative, but again, all of us have seen this, all right? Where it can go wrong is in terms of not engaging with the literature, not discussing things with the Blackboard tutor, and possibly in terms of, let's call it poor scholarship, even though sometimes the university uses a different name. So I guess at this stage, maybe just a little bit about don't fall into that trap. All right, we're asking you to read the literature. We're asking you to produce a literature review. Don't start reading the articles, get a bit of paper, make some notes without recognising whether you are using quotes from that article or whether you are constructing your own discussion from those articles. All right, if you don't know, then eventually when you start to put together your literature, you won't know whether they're quotations or not. So, from the outset, be very careful in terms of your note making. So you do know when you're using quotes and when you're using your own words. And then hopefully you won't accidentally, fall into that situation. Other things in terms of what doesn't work on its own is where you have no research question to start with. Again, I can't think of a better phrase, I don't think any of us can. Academic research question. So a project that says, I want to know why my company's sales went down last year isn't academic research. It might be quite useful for your company, but there isn't an academic research question to start with. But if you have that research question, then going back to what we were saying earlier, no reason why you cannot use your company as a case study, right? But it needs to address that question. So again, we don't want a description of your company or whatever it says there, a business plan, a marketing plan. But that doesn't mean you cannot use a case study approach to address something that's interesting. But again, and maybe this is a danger, what we don't want is a detailed description of your company. All right, you have to be using it for that purpose. And again, I've certainly seen this in kind of draft material. You're so engrossed in what you're doing within your organisation that you get carried away in terms of providing all that detail. And that's not really what is required. A little bit of context maybe, but then it's really about how you're using that organisation to address your research question. Okay. I don't think I want to say any more about that one. Should we open up 5 minutes? There you go. Should we open up to any more questions that anybody's got? Yeah.
Yes, in terms of timelines for the dissertation,
Yeah.
I know there's a set period, 6 months, I think it is. The timelines for the dissertation. Timelines for the dissertation.
Ask me the question, I'll try and, yeah?
Yes, I really wanted to understand, say for example in your proposal, you mentioned that you expect to complete the program, the dissertation in a 6-month period.
Yeah.
Yet you, because of circumstances beyond your control, you find it difficult to meet that target.
Yeah.
How much of an effect does that have on the final mark of the dissertation?
Okay, right, repeat the question, all right? Somewhere in the documentation it says something about 6 months to complete the dissertation, all right? And I think what I'm being asked is, well, what if you can't stick to that? And in that sense, I don't think it's a big issue. It's only a big issue if you're running out of registration time for the whole program. All right, if it takes you longer than the 6 months to complete the dissertation, but that allows you to do a very good dissertation, then that's great, yes? Okay, but if you're heading up against a deadline where the university might say, well, out of time, Buster, then that does become a factor that you need to build in. What we've also got in terms of the online submission are various deadlines for submitting a proposal, okay? And as per your assignments, then you kind of sign up to say, I'm going to submit my proposal, whatever, the 31st of May, I think it is, or the 31st of July. Anyway, there are set dates. If you adopt the kind of process that I've been talking about today, and you liaise with the Blackboard tutor, then you should be in a position to say, I'm going to sign up on the 31st of July and hit that deadline, no problem. All right? But if you don't do that, and you go on late to Blackboard and the tutor says, I don't think that's going to work, then just pull it. All right? Sign up for the next one. Okay? Make sure that what you submit is good rather than you hit these deadlines. In every situation except if you run out of time. If you run out of time, then talk to us. Or sorry, email us, yeah, the administration, and see what's possible to do. But I can't guarantee, even though I said I was a director, that we within the School of Management can do something. But at least talk to us, whoever, if that applies to anybody. Any other?
What's the word requirement for the proposal?
I don't know. Anybody know that?
What's the question?
Word requirement for the proposal. All right, someone's saying 1,500. That kind of sounds reasonable to me, yeah? Okay, so there's a suggestion here, 1,500. The way I remember it is the way being suggested at the back, that there are suggested word numbers for the different sections. Maybe that adds up to the 1,500. But again, going back to what I was saying earlier, the whole idea of the proposal is you get across to us what it is you plan to do. So we can look at it and say, yep, we think that will work, it's doable, and it would make a dissertation. If you could do that in 1,000 words, then that's fine. If it takes you 2,000, then use the 2,000. Because that's the most important thing, that you get across to us what you're actually going to do in sufficient depth that we can look at it and say, yeah, great. Okay, well, I think I was supposed to finish at past, which I've managed by skipping a load of the slides that's on your handout anyway, so I don't feel too guilty about that. So I'll power this down here, but I'll stay at the front if anybody wants to ask me any individual questions. But remember, after the break, then Steve and Alan are doing a sort of more of a discussion session in terms of people bouncing ideas about possible projects, if they're at that stage right at the moment. Okay, thank you.